Hello guys, as part of today's video we are going to see how we can create a simple page in Sitecore on SXA, and then how also to add few components to it, and all these without writing even a single line of code. So when we talk about sim page creation on SXA, we also have to talk about the site structure, which includes tenants, your tenants folder, your tenant site folder and site, because SXA supports multi-tenancy. So we are also going to look into what are these tenants and site folders all about. So yeah, let's get started. So if you see here, this is the plain Sitecore 9.3 so vanilla Sitecore instance. Nothing has been added on this. No solution part so far. It's just the site is up and running, and it also has SXA installed on it. So basically, when we talk about tenants on SXA, tenants basically is nothing but it's an organization of basically where you can add multiple websites under the same Sitecore instance. So if you take an example of a multinational company, where which has which has different brands of it, and then each brand is present in different regions. So what happens is, with SXA there is a better way to organize all these sites under same site instance. So in this case, if we talk about SXA, the structure could be, we have a main tenant folder. So under tenant folder is something, under which we can have multiple tenants created. So we can have tenant folder as in company name. Under tenant folder you can have multiple again you can have your tenant folder, or you can have your tenant created there. So let's say if we talk about so your company name is your tenant folder, and under your company name you can have your tenant. So in this case, let's say if your company has different brands of it, so each brand can act as a different tenant, right? So that's how your tenant folder and tenant structure come into picture. And then let's say if you talk about a specific brand, let's say brand 1, and under brand 1 also, now let's take an example, that brand 1 is is present in different regions also, right? It's not only about your North America or some European countries. It is also, it is applicable to US. It is applicable to Europe, and then it also applicable to APAC regions. Then what we can do is we can have a different site folder created there, and each site folder belongs to one region, right? Because uh, let's say if you want to have for that same brand website, if you want to have different, if you want to have a multilingual website, that's fine. But if you want to have different sites um, for different languages, so that you can have under uh, one site folder itself. And let's say if you also want to take an example where uh, you want to have, for you have one, let's say, let me give you an example. You have, you know you have a you have a tenant folder created, right? And under that tenant, as I mentioned, like, you have a different uh, uh, site folder created for each um each region. And under each region you have different sites created for different languages, right? So let's say if your brand one is, your brand one is there in Canada, then Brazil. So different folder, different sites can be created under that site folder created. So it's basically up to your imagination how well you want to organize it, and also depend on the business requirement. So in this case, you can see, like, we have a sandbox item created, which is based on your tenant folder. And under tenant folder, the process is quite simple. You just have to click on content, insert, and then you will find two options, tenant and tenant folder. You just click on tenant folder and just give it a name. Then once you have your tenant folder created, you just right click on your tenant folder, and then again you get an option whether you still want to have another tenant folder created, or you want to proceed for the actual tenant. So in this case, what I have done is I'm just doing, this is just an hypothetical scenario. So I'm just giving a scenario as in travel sites. I'm assuming that under this tenant all my sites belong to is a travel site. So I just created a tenant called travel sites. So yeah, so the important thing to note here is, for every tenant, right? So any site which I create under a specific tenant, you know can be shared, which means the the resources, the data template, the presentation, and all those things what we have under specific tenant can be shared, right? So anyways, I'm not going to going to the details about how sharing works on a tenant level, but this is just to give an idea, like the sharing can happen on the tenant level. So in this case also, if you see, if I scroll down, you have we have a section for sharing. So under sharing, I just have 3 sites created. Anyways, nothing has been added so far on any of these sites. It's just for the representation that under each tenant we can have multiple sites, and your one of the site can actually act as an shared site, which means you don't have to basically, let's say if you have a common if you have your page designs and partial designs quite common for your different site which you have added under specific tenant, then you can add all those things, even your data part also, as part of your shared website, and then all your other sites which belong to the same tenant actually share content from that shared website. So anyways, that is not the scope of this video what we are doing now, but this is again for your understanding that we have a concept of sharing on the tenant level, which means anything under tenant can be shared across different websites. So as of now we just have so once we have tenant created, then again you just click on the you just right click on the tenant folder, and then you get an option to create a site or a site folder. So in this case, I have not created any site folder because this is not some this is not a specific project. So but again, it depends on the requirement. If you have a requirement to basically create a different site folder, and under that site folder you want to have your different region sites created, yeah, definitely go ahead and create a different site folder. So in this case, uh, we have a club zone created, a travel city created, and a shared website, and all these 3 sites has been created just by right click on insert and then site, and just by giving it a name. So if I click on the right travel sites tenant, I click on the site, and then basically it asks for the site name and several other details, where like you can specify the host name, the theme, and different kind of stuff like your site name, your host name, modules, what modules you want to install as part of your current site which you are going to create here. So yeah, so this is also an important thing here. Normally when we talk about reusability, we also have to think in a way wherein like uh, anyways, I'm kind of deviating from my actual thing, but uh, as it came here, so that's the reason I'm just telling that we also have to think about reusability in mind, so that let's say we are creating a new custom component, and we think that that custom component has a potential to go as an kind of reusable component. So we also have to think about how basically we can create that component in an SXA manner, so that we can actually have that component installed somewhere here, and for whichever site we want to install it, we can just just go to that particular site and then say hey, just install this particular component. So we don't have to basically go ahead and then install the package, those kind of things. So where in whichever site we want to install that particular module, so we can just go to that particular site and just do add module, and then select that specific module. So that kind of reusability also we have to think, and then see how we can make it XXA compliant, so that it's not like that we are kind of very restricted at how exactly that module get installed. So it will be applicable only on that particular site where exactly it has been added. So that also something which you have to keep in mind. And then yeah, we can have different themes created. As of now, um, if you want to just go for the basic 2, or if you want to have your site specific theme, that also you can do, and then you can again style it based on your based on your branding. And then we have grid system, bootstrap 4, bootstrap 3, foundation, and grid 960. So anyways, yeah, you can select any of the grid system you want. You can select the the available themes you have, or you just create a new theme, then select the module what you have here, and then on the journal you just have to specify your new site name and the host name, what's your folder if any, and then for which language you want to create it, and then just click on OK. It will take a while because it again has to the background PowerShell script will execute, and then it will try to install all these modules what you have selected here. So it's up to you. Let's say if you think that your site is is really a small website and doesn't need all these modules, so then you can directly uncheck all those modules which you are kind of sure that you don't need those modules. And even if you have uninstalled, or even if you have not selected these modules during your site creation process, you can always go back to the site and then install those missing components. So it's not like that if you miss it here, there is no way for you to go back. Definitely you can do that. Yeah, so then once everything is selected, just click on OK and you should be all fine. So as of now I'm not going to do that, but yeah, following the same process what I just explained, I have just created these 3 different sites. So now what I'm going to do here is, so we understand the concept of tenant folder, then we have a tenant, and then we have concept of site, right? Now what I'm going to do here is, see here, if you see, like, we have just plain Sitecore homepage, right? So if I just open uh, home, I'm not going to see anything because it's just plain instance. Nothing has been added so far. So how basically we can create a simple page without writing one single line of code there, because that's where SXA comes into picture. It helps in the time to market. It basically helps in time to market. So what we can do is we can actually make use of your out of the box component which comes with SXA. So if I click on home here, and then if I go to publish, I go to experience editor, right? So this is the default layout which you're gonna see once you have your SXA site installed. And we have placeholders like header, then we have a placeholder for main, and then we have a placeholder for footer. So as an example, let's say we want to have a logo on it, then we want to have some kind of description text added here, and then we want to have some kind of navigation. So what we can do is, without SXA you basically have to build all these components from scratch, but with SXA we have a flexibility that we can reuse those existing modules, right? So let's start by adding those modules one by one. So in SXA, in the right hand side you see this toolbox. So these toolbox, it has components which are available for you to use out of the box. There are several composite components, context, then engagement, events, forms. These are the different categories of component which are available from SXA. And then we have a different set of components for experience commerce as well. So anyways, we will have a separate session only to discuss about the common components which normally we can use. So in this case what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to go to the media, and then we have this image, right? So what I'll do is, anyways, the media is already added, so I'm just going to drag this image here, right? Image component, and then I'm just going to specify the data source, so that image should already be there. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to add a tourism. Anyways, I have just taken it from the net. So yeah, so you can see like your logo is kind of up and running, and then anyways you basically again have to do some styling, so that those kind of things definitely you have to do, and you can do it later as well. But yeah, you basically you don't have to build this feature. It is already available for you, so that's where you can take advantage of SXA. Now another thing is, let's say you also want to add some kind of RTF, right? So as I'm considering this as an kind of travel site, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add so if I go to page content, I'm going to add an rich text. So just drag and drop your rich text to main placeholder, right? And then you have this part. So if I click on this one, you can update, you can put whatever you want here. So let me I'll just go to Ram Mahindra website, and I'm just taking an example. And if I go to, okay, let me go to the footer, maybe let me go to some page here. Okay, and then okay, so let's say this part only, right? So this one. So what I'm going to do is, I'll just go here, copy paste it here, okay, and I'll just call it as club zone, right? Okay, so now yeah, anyways, your text is specific to your brand. So anyway, this is just for your example. So once you're done with your you're editing on this RTF. If you want to add some images, you can do that. Add links, do that. Images, do that. Once you're done with it, just click on accept, and then you have, club zone, beach resorts things available. The next step is, you also want to have some kind of, navigation or linked list, where you want to have some links where you can navigate your user to some, XYZ pages. So for that, what we can also do is, we have a navigation section where we have link and linked list. So linked list is something which I am, kind of interested here. So what I'm going to do is, so this is the list which I have already created, right? So just click on that, click on OK, right? And here you can see we have membership, city, news, and offers things created, right? So this list already exists, but in case if you want to have a different list created where you want to have, different, you want to redirect to different URL, and then you want to have different text, you can always, do that. You just click on your link, and then whatever you want to put it there, you can just do it. As of now, we just have only one home item created there, so that's why, it all the link goes to the same page. So yeah, just cancel it, and then once you're all done with all your editing, and if you want to add some more components to that, you can always do that, right? Now just save your changes. Once you saved it, let's go to publish and publish it. Let's also publish the related items. Okay, and now if I want to refresh it, you can see this page is working. Let's go to the preview. Right, so here basically, anyways, the pages loading, and this is how actually it's gonna look. So uh, so basically what I wanted to show you guys here is, with SXA you have flexibility to select, to use some of the out of the box components which might match with your business requirements. And then you always have to basically, let's say you're going for a pitch, and then you get to know from your client, that prospect client, that they have they have a requirement where like specific types of modules are going to be used. So then you can basically take a review and see whatever modules you have got as a requirement from your client. If those modules are already there in SXA, then yeah, you can it basically helps you in your further discussion with the client. And then you can always go back, say that these all modules are always there, it is already there as part of SXA. And on top of it, SXA also has flexibility of multi-tenancy, your site creation, your site cloning, and all those different things will come into picture. But yeah, this will actually helps client in basically reducing their budgets also. And but definitely I'm not saying that there is absolutely no no requirement to go for any custom development when we are using SXA. Definitely there are certain cases where the client, you have received a specific requirement where you have to basically build that feature from scratch, and it is not present in SXA. So for those kind of things, definitely you have to build that feature, and as it is not available in SXA. But in most of the cases, I think the need is to review the feature set received from the client and see if it is matching with if it is already available in your toolbox which comes with SXA. And if not, then you can always go back and tell the client that there are certain features which are not available, and then you can build those features from scratch. So this is what I just wanted to cover as part of today's video, and just to give you an idea that without even writing a single line of code, we can actually create a page in Sitecore with a decent page. And because Sitecore also comes with several out of the box templates. Like home template is one of the template or one of the example which you have seen, because for this one the page which you are seeing, it is based on the home template which I haven't created, right? And then similarly we have other templates also created, like page templates is another example of it. So as part of the next session, what I'm going to show is, the concept of page design and partial design, and how you can create a new layout, right? Because currently the layout which we are using, it is out of the box layout. So if I go to the presentation and details, and then if I go to the layout, then we have this MVC layout created. So this is the layout which comes out of the box with it. So if I click on this one, it is MVC layout. So it is not, it comes from Experience Accelerator and we haven't created it. So but sometimes normally it is recommended to go for our custom layout. So in the next video we are going to see how we can create a new custom layout, and then the concept of page design and partial design, and how we can actually use those things in our template. So I hope you got some understanding about SXA and how to create a simple page without writing even a single line of code. And yeah, thanks for watching this, and see you in our next video. Thank you.